Again, going back to the analogy of our tree, leaves have a waxy coating, and our trunk and our branches have bark that serve to really protect the tree. If those break down, disease or bugs can damage or even kill a tree that was once healthy. And so boundaries should function the same way in our life, that they should serve to protect our spiritual health. They should serve to protect us emotionally, physically, financially. So I'm going to go through just some really basic ideas on boundaries for you to think through. And then again, Nathan and Arlo will talk about just more of the practical side of what do those boundaries really look like. Number one, know your own limits. Healthy people have minimum requirements for how they will be treated. What are yours? Number two, communicate these limits and your expectations. Be proactive with your communication versus reactive whenever possible. Number three, when in doubt, say no, or at least let me think about it. You can always come back later and more easily with a yes than backtracking out of a yes to a no. Number four, use us and your larger support system. We will process with you, brainstorm with you, collaborate with you. We really want to stress that you're not alone. And last but not least, again, pray. I cannot stress enough that God is our ever-present, ever-balanced, ever-loving, and honest lifeline.
Boundaries is one of the things where it's going to depend a lot on the person who you're meeting with. If the person who you meet with has issues with boundaries, then this is going to be a important section.
It's good to be proactive. I also think that if you do not know your boundaries, this might be difficult for you. You have to know what your family is comfortable with. You have to know what you are comfortable with, and then just simply lay it out. This is my life. This is how it is, and you have to get comfortable with that. Family time is from 6 on, and I will not probably answer the phone, but I'll call you back in the morning. Really get comfortable with where your family is, what your family needs are, and simply just lay that out. And it actually can be a positive. It doesn't necessarily have to be a negative. I think if you are one that uses a cell phone a lot, I think that you can, and I often do this, I will share, you can call me, and when I am in a place where I can call you back, then I will. I think it's just get comfortable with what works for your life, and then don't feel bad sharing that.
Mm-hmm. There are other issues, boundary issues that are going to come up. If you guys go out to eat, who's going to pay for that meal? Working that stuff out ahead of time can be really helpful. Do you allow the person into your home, or is that something that you're going to get into? When can they come over? When do you guys meet? What's appropriate? Can they call you at home? Are you going to introduce them to your family? Are you going to introduce them to your children? Is this going to be something where you want them to have a relationship with friends or family of yours? But again, working those things out ahead of time can be really helpful.
Babysitting, giving rides, those are huge issues where the lines can kind of be foggy a little bit. I like to use a rule of thumb, give yourself a cooling off period. If there is a huge financial issue, if their car breaks down and they're looking at needing rides for a while, give yourself a moment to step away from it and think clearly about, is it practical for me to drive them to work? Is it practical for me to do this? God can work through pain and through uncomfortable situations, and for you as the mentor to just step back and spend some time with God and say, are you working through this, or are you calling me to love radically? I think you need to give yourself a little bit of time, and also use the Atlas team to discern if that's what God is doing, and get comfortable with their uncomfortableness.
We shouldn't feel a pressure to respond, especially to some of those larger requests. Don't respond right away. That's okay. It's okay to give it a little bit of time and to say that you need that. Another boundary issue is going to be time. How much time do you have? We need to learn how to cut off a conversation at times. Sometimes that's just respectfully interrupting. You know what? Hey, I've got to pick up my child from school, or whatever the case. When it's time to go, we could say something like, I'd love to chat, but I've got to run. Be upfront with how much time you have. Tell them, I've got an hour today, and then I've got to get going.
Talk often about what your support looks like. I think if you can say, this is what I can do for you, it takes away from this is what I cannot do for you. If they are in a crisis and they need to meet more often, then lay it out. I can meet over lunch. My nights are swamped. I can't meet over, after work at all. But, my lunches are all yours. It's an easy way for you to share, this is what I can do and what I'm willing to do.
Mm-hmm.